Hi, I'm Congressman Ruben Gallego from Phoenix, Arizona.
And City Councilwoman Kate Gallego, also from Phoenix.
We're here to support My Brother's Keeper, a great initiative started by the White House and going on here during the Super Bowl in Phoenix. It's my pleasure to be part of this organization and to help out to ensure that all of our young men know that they have a bright future.
The White House challenged the City of Phoenix to step up and be part of the My Brother's Keeper initiative, and we were proud to accept that challenge. We're looking for opportunities for mentoring, for better outcomes, including early childhood education, and we've had some great partners in this program. The Arizona Community Foundation just announced a 6-figure commitment to My Brother's Keepers so that groups can go out there and get a grant to help have better outcomes for our young people.
We know with a little work, a lot of these young men and women can have their lives turned around. I know because I'm certainly one of them. Thank you again for being supportive.
Congressman Ruben Gallego.
Thank you all for having me here. First, I'd like to recognize some friends in the crowd. State Representative Reginald Boulding, State Representative both for this area, South Phoenix and Levine. Where's my good friend, Councilman Johnson? There you go, Councilman. You may not be Councilman now. You're always going to be Councilman in my heart. I'm sorry. When I came to work at the city, he was both my city councilman in the sense that I lived in his district, but he was on the office next door. So he certainly kept me in line, and I've always appreciated that. And the other council member that I really appreciate and have to mention, or else I will probably need to borrow somebody's couch here, is my wife, Kate Gallego. And also, thank you, Bishop Thomas and Pilgrim Rest Ministries for just being involved with this. And also, just last week, it feels like last week, and then we had all the MLK events, and just what a great way for them to step up. And thank you for inviting me and Kate to as many events as we could make it to. And of course, where's AP? How could I miss you, actually, AP? Yeah, there you are, AP. AP and of the Checkered Flag Run Foundation for his leadership and this event too with My Brother's Keeper. You know, this is a great movement that the president has started, something that's very personal to me. You know, some of you know I'm the son of immigrants. My dad is from Mexico, and my mom is from Colombia. Spanish actually was my first language. I had to learn English in order to get along. Actually, I failed, it's a little known story, I failed 3rd grade because I couldn't actually speak English well and was thought that I might have to fail another grade. And unfortunately, like many men in my situation, my dad left my family fairly early, and I was raised in a single mother household. Very strong mother. You know, if you meet her, you will understand how I ended up the way I am, because I had 2 choices. Either I had to go the straight or narrow, in her words. Either I went straight and narrow and became a success, or I was going to be dead. So dead was not an option for me. And I had 3 beautiful, strong, and I have 3 beautiful, strong sisters that also taught me how to be a man and how to, treat women in the manner that they should be. Coming into government, and you kind of heard a little bit about my rise, the one thing I would tell you that I think, at least from my experiences growing up, I went from, not having a bed until I was about 18. My first bed actually was in college, my first physical bed. The one thing that I could tell you that tied everything together was that there was always a sense of hope. And what happens a lot of times is that we in government do not provide hope for a lot of these young men, especially young men of color. And you see that all the time. Like when government does not invest in schools and make our schools not just have great teachers that care, but even just the physical beauty of a school, young men and women notice this. If we do not choose to show that we care, what are we telling them? Because sometimes what we're basically saying is like, you shouldn't care either. You even look at that, where we put our money now. Sometimes we're unfortunately, Arizona is one of these situations. We're putting more money in prisons than we are in schools. And what does that say to a young man or a young woman who's growing up in poverty, or to a poor family? What we're saying is that we believe your future is more likely to be here in prison than it is in college. And we don't think that has an effect. I think, we're being very naive. I think it does have an impact when you have some police officers, and not all, but some police officers who automatically treat young men of color as criminals without any due process, without any idea what their background is, but treat them as criminals on site, and then not expect for some of them to actually act like it later on, because we're not investing in hope in them. But then now, that's my job as your government official, as your congressman, to try to fix that. But what your job is, and also my job since I am part of the community, is as a community, though, we also have to instill hope where we can. So if you see that young man down the street who really does not have some guidance, give that young man a chance. I will tell you, the reason I am here is because there was a whole lot of community members that got together, whether they knew it or not, and got me to where I am at this point. When I was getting sworn in a couple weeks ago, it was a very interesting group of people. A lot of my colleagues that got to Congress had people that donated thousands and thousands of dollars there, helping them celebrate. At my swearing in, I had a lot of people, but one of the most interesting groups of people, according at least to reporters, was that there was 3 people that were there that didn't even donate any money to me at all. One of them was my guy, my boss, and I still call him boss, my first boss at a burger joint that I worked at in South Chicago, a place called Susie's. I don't know if anybody here is from Chicago. Anyway, yeah, you remember that? I was the fry guy. I was the fry guy, and I did the roast beef sandwiches. But I invited him, and I'll still make good roast beef sandwiches if you guys ever invited to your house. I invited Steve because Steve was one of the few male role models I had when my father left. They really taught me about hard work, dignity, respect. And I made sure that he was invited to my inauguration because he needed to know that I existed because of his work. I also invited my high school librarian because, again, she didn't donate any money to me, but what she would do is she would let me sneak out of class and even stay after school and read through all the test books and test prep books so I could get ready for my college exams, because I couldn't afford what other kids do and pay for their own college exams and all these courses. But she would let me sneak out the books or even just stay there as late as I could just to study. And she was there in my inauguration because I am here because she had hope and faith in me. And then there was 3 men that I served in the Marine Corps, some younger and some older than me, that we were in war together. And they were there because they had faith and hope in me that we were going to make it through this war. So for us as a foundation, for us as a community, we need to work together just to instill that faith and hope into that young man, into that young family. Because we in government, we're going to try to do our job. But what you can do every day is going to make a bigger difference than what someone like me, or even Mayor Stanton can do in terms of a government program. So all I ask every day is look around your community and see who is in your community that just needs that little oomph, that needs that just little bit of hope, so you could just get them to the next day, eventually get them to their next step, get them to their next year, and then get them into their first successful job, and hopefully have a great life. And you are that person. Thank you very much, my brothers keepers, for doing this. Thank you, President Obama, for investing in our community. Thank you, Michael Kelly, for arranging this. I hope you guys all have a great Super Bowl weekend.